Power outages are spreading across Southeast Asia, and it's not just bad weather. In this urgent, data-driven deep dive, we reveal the real causes behind the recent blackouts in Vietnam, the Philippines, Thailand and Malaysia, and why experts warn this is just the beginning. In October 2025, factories in Ho Chi Minh City went dark. In Manila, traffic lights failed during rush hour. In Kuala Lumpur, data centers scrambled to switch to backup generators. And in Bangkok, residents faced rolling blackouts for the first time in over a decade. This isn't a natural disaster. This is a systemic collapse in the making, and it's hitting Southeast Asia harder than any region on Earth. Welcome. In the next 20 minutes, we'll uncover why Southeast Asia's power grids are failing, how this crisis ties into global supply chains, China's strategic energy plays, and climate pressures, and, most importantly, what it means for you, whether you live in Jakarta, Singapore, or even watch from abroad. Section 1. The Blackout Wave. What's happening right now? In Vietnam, the state-owned utility EVN declared a Level 3 grid emergency on October 22, 2025, the highest alert level, triggering mandatory power cuts to industrial zones in the south. Why? Record-breaking heat pushed temperatures above 40 degrees Celsius (104 degrees Fahrenheit) for 18 consecutive days, spiking air conditioning demand by 27%. But the real problem, only 62% of Vietnam's coal-fired plants were operational due to maintenance backlogs and coal import delays from Indonesia and Australia. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, the National Grid Corporation issued a red alert for Luzon, the island housing Metro Manila on November 3. Reserve margins plunged below 5%, dangerously close to total blackout territory. The culprit, aging transmission lines, coupled with the sudden shutdown of 2 major coal plants for environmental violations. In Thailand, the Electricity Generating Authority reported natural gas reserves at a 7-year low, since 60% of Thailand's electricity comes from gas mostly imported from Myanmar and Gulf states, and disruption sends shockwaves through the system. And in Malaysia, Sabah on Borneo Island saw 12-hour blackouts in late October after a substation fire crippled the East Malaysian grid. But experts say this was avoidable if not for underinvestment in rural infrastructure. This isn't isolated. It's a regional cascade waiting to happen. Section 2. The root causes. It's not just weather, so why is this happening now? 3 interlocking factors. First, infrastructure is crumbling. Southeast Asia's power grids were built for the 20th century, not for AI data centers, EV factories, and 100 million person megacities. The average age of transformers in the Philippines is 32 years. In Vietnam, 40% of transmission lines predate 2000. Maintenance is chronically underfunded. Second, energy demand is exploding, but supply isn't keeping up. ASEAN's electricity demand is growing at 6% annually, double the global average. Vietnam alone added 12 gigawatts of new capacity in 2024, yet still couldn't meet peak summer loads. Why? Because renewables like solar and wind are intermittent, and battery storage deployment lags. Meanwhile, fossil fuel dependence remains high. 78% of ASEAN's power still comes from coal and gas. Third, geopolitics is tightening the noose. Here's what most reports miss. China's State Grid Corporation and China's Southern Power Grid have quietly taken stakes in transmission projects across Laos, Cambodia, and even parts of Malaysia. While this brings capital, it also creates dependency. And when China restricts rare earth exports used in transformers and smart grids, as it did in September 2025, Southeast Asian utilities can't upgrade fast enough. Section 3. The domino effect. Beyond your light switch. This isn't just about inconvenience, it's about economic survival. In the Philippines, frequent outages are scaring off foreign investors. A recent JP Morgan report warned that unreliable power could shave 1.2% off GDP growth in 2026. And for ordinary citizens, blackouts mean spoiled food, failed medical devices, and disrupted remote work. In rural Indonesia, Students lose hours of online learning. Worse, this crisis is accelerating climate vulnerability. When grids fail, diesel generators roar to life, spewing CO2 and toxic fumes. It's a vicious cycle. Heat causes blackouts. Blackouts cause more emissions. Emissions cause more heat. Section 4. What's being done and what's missing? Governments are responding, but often too little, too late. Vietnam just fast-tracked 8 offshore wind projects. Thailand is subsidizing rooftop solar. The Philippines passed a new Grid Resilience Act. But there's a fatal gap. Regional coordination. ASEAN has an Our Grid initiative since 1999, but less than 15% of cross-border interconnections are operational. Contrast that with Europe's synchronized grid, where surplus wind from Denmark powers factories in Poland. Meanwhile, private investment is hesitant. Why? Regulatory uncertainty. In Malaysia, renewable tariffs change every 18 months. In Indonesia, land permits for substations take 3 years. The solution isn't just more power plants, it's smarter grids. Think AI-driven load balancing, decentralized microgrids for villages, and mandatory grid hardening standards. If you're watching from Southeast Asia, track your local grid status via apps like PLN Mobile Indonesia or EVN Online Vietnam. Invest in home battery backup. Savin. A small 1 kWh LiFePO for unit can keep lights and Wi-Fi running for 8 hours. Advocate for community solar programs. In Thailand, 200+ villages now run on solar microgrids immune to national blackouts. And globally, watch how this crisis reshapes tech manufacturing. If Southeast Asia can't guarantee power, companies may shift to India or Mexico, accelerating a new era of supply chain decoupling. Southeast Asia stands at an energy crossroads. The choice is clear. Upgrade the grid nor face escalating blackouts that threaten decades of economic progress. This isn't doom-mongering. It's a wake-up call backed by data, infrastructure reports, and on-the-ground realities. If you found this analysis valuable, hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell. Leave a comment. Has your city faced blackouts? What solutions have you seen work? Stay informed, stay prepared, and remember, power isn't just electricity, it's stability.